Hello there. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi Ute, and it's such a joy to come your way this very beautiful Monday morning. How was your weekend? I tell you the truth, I had a blast. I had a very fulfilling weekend, and I hope you did too. So it's another beautiful, beautiful, beautiful week. And today, I'm taking us way out of parenthood, motherhood, fatherhood that we have had to something that concerns everybody: fathers, mothers, children, grandchildren, every single person is concerned. I'll be talking today about our finances. How do we increase our earning capacity? You will agree with me that inflation is catching up so fast. Price of things are going up by the day. And employers are not increasing salaries at the same rate. And even those who are in business, they are struggling to catch up. But like I will always say, 3rd John 2 is still God's plan for us. God wishes above all things that will prosper. Now, growing up as a child, I used to crack a joke, but now I've come to see it as a reality. I would say then, I don't know if you know this granite in its what's that thing called now, in its container, that little thing. And I'll crack the joke and say, if they are pounding yam inside a leaf or cooking inside that tiny little thing, that I know for sure, because I belong to God, I will not just be full, I will have an overflow. And when I saw the way the economy was going, I remembered that saying, and it stands true. However, it will not be a function of just praying. We've got to know to do more than prayer. And today, joining me in this conversation is a man of many parts. I knew him for forever as a pharmacist. When I realized he's a financial expert, I almost fell off my chair. But he has 25 years working experience as a pharmapreneur. So he's not just a pharmacist, as a pharmapreneur. And he says he's a trader by default with fingers in printing, building accessories, imports, facility management, pharmacy, and supermarket furnishing, microfinance and investment, training and capacity building, and general enterprise. Wow. He is passionate about reading and learning. Currently, my guest this morning is the CEO of Shalom Pharmacy Limited, a retail pharmacy outlet in Maitama, Abuja. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to receive on this platform this morning, Chris Ebadan.
Good morning.
So
Good
good to
morning,
have
Auntie Yomi.
you.
Fine.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
everyone.
It's so awesome. Thank you so much for agreeing to come do this with
Thank you,
me.
Ma, for having me. It's a privilege to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Now, Pastor Chris, you heard my introduction, and I was just going to hit it straight. And we had agreed, and I'm telling everybody up front, this is going to go in two parts. We're going to go in this, and we're going to do this week, and we'll continue next week. So we do not rush it. It's critical.
Yeah.
How do we increase earning capacity? Because the truth is this: inflation is not smiling.
Yeah.
Prices of things are just skyrocketing
Mm.
across all currencies.
Mm.
What do we need to do
Yeah.
to ensure that somehow we are able to have abundance and have enough to be a blessing to others?
Thank you again, Auntie Yomi, and it's a great privilege to be here. We're talking about how to increase your earning capacity, especially in the midst of inflation, in the midst of Nigeria being number 6 on the misery index in the world. That
Mm,
means that our economy is, I think what economists call it is that it's stagflated. There are no jobs. Earning capacity in the country is at its lowest right now. But I'll take it from what you just said. You said growing up, you had this saying that you told yourself. And I've heard some other persons make that same statement. And I see where they are, people that have that kind of mindset, that no matter what the economy of Nigeria is, even if they pound yam in leaves, you will still succeed. You will still live above board, you know. And so, first of all, it has to be from our mind. It has to be from our mindset. And so, if you want to increase your earning capacity in such an economy, the truth of the matter is that whether we like it or not, the economy may not be smiling, but there are some people that are smiling. There are some people that they've not changed their standard of living because they had the mindset you had 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago when the economy was good, and they did put things in place and did things continually that made them live above board, that made, no matter what happened to the economy, they were still comfortable. And so what I would say to increase your earning capacity, the first thing that was come to our mind is that you must dream. You must have a dream. You must dream bigger than where you are. Okay. I'll go to the Bible. Habakkuk chapter 2, from verse 2. God was speaking and he said, then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. So you must have a dream of the future that you desire. You may not be there right now. Truth be told, man, when people say the economy is bad, there's no money anywhere, I personally see it as excuses. Okay, if you have a dream for where you want to be tomorrow, today is the right time to start having the right mindset about money, mindset about the economy, no matter what is happening. I always tell people that when you say you're not doing well because you're in a particular field, look around you. Are you the only person in that field?
No.
Are there other people in the same field that are doing well? So it's not the field that something is wrong with. It's not the field that you need to change. It's you that you need to change. Even if there's only one person that is succeeding in that field, that means there's an opportunity in that field. There's something you can do that will change your narrative in that same field. And so what you see, what you believe about yourself is very important. I teach young people all the time because that's what I did many, maybe 25 years ago. I saw where I was and I looked 10 years, 20 years, 25 years ahead of myself, and I started to dream. I had a picture journal of what I wanted to be, the kind of money I wanted to earn. And the way I did my earning capacity was that I had a big checkbook, but there was no money in the account. This was maybe 25 years ago. I remember that checkbook, EcoBank. I still have it. If I remember, I'll talk about it. I'll have brought it so you see it. It's still a big checkbook. I never used that check because there was never money in the account. But I tore leaves of that check and wrote, pay Chris Ebadan 10 million naira for services render. Pay Chris, as the years went by, I started increasing it. Pay Chris Ebadan 50 million naira for services render. Pay Chris Ebadan $10,000 for services render. I cut out pictures of cars that I would love to have in the future. I'll put it in that picture diary. And I'll write, I thank you, Lord, for this is my car of the future. I thank you, Lord, for this is the kind of house. I had that. I still have that picture diary. If we take a break, maybe I'll look for it and show you some of the pictures, you know. And I started dreaming. I wasn't just dreaming, folding my hands, and like you said, praying over the book and having hope. Hope is not a strategy. There must be a strategy to get to that place. And so as I was seeing those things, I told myself, I cannot remain where I was at that time. And so whatever I needed to do to push myself from that place, I started to do it. I started to look for opportunities. I started to look for problems. And so the first thing is that have a big dream. And the dream must be bigger than yourself. Don't have 10,000 naira in your account, for example, and now write a check on your picture journal. I think they call them dream bots now. I want to earn 15,000 naira next month. If you can earn 10,000 naira this month, you can earn 15,000 by yourself. If you have 10,000 naira, write 1 million, write 100,000. Write something that would build your mind, that will blow your mind, make you to think big. Okay? And so first thing is to have a dream. Not just have a dream, write it down. Write something you can see. Put pictures. You want to be a success in your field. Find somebody that is a success in that field. Put the person's picture there. Whether it's a pastor, whether it's a you know something, in my dream book, as at that time, I never, if you told me I was going to be a pastor, I would say, please leave that in. I won't have the time. But somehow there are two men that I just loved them. I didn't know them personally. I never met them at that time, but I just loved their personality. I listened to their teachings. And so I took their pictures, both of them, and put it in that picture journal. They were both pastors. Oh, yeah. And 10, 15 years down the line, I became a pastor. So it works. It's been like that from the beginning. Genesis chapter 1, God saw darkness, but in his mind, he started thinking about, the Bible says the Holy Spirit began to brood upon that darkness, upon that chaos. And he saw light, and he spoke, let there be light. And light became. And that light is still there till today. And so have a dream. The second thing that I would say is that as you have that dream, no matter where you are, no matter your circumstances, you may not even have a dime in your pocket. Young people, especially the young people that I was in a training on Saturday, and I think they were talking about money. And I always hear young people, it always breaks my heart when I hear young people say this. The facilitator was talking about you need to learn how to give, you need to learn how to. And the young man stood up, what about those of us that have nothing to give? I might have just broke that. Every time people hear giving, they just think about money. Money is not the only thing that you have to give. Even when you, I remember the story about, I think, Elisha and the widow. He said, what do you have in your house? And she said, absolutely nothing, except this small cruse of oil and a little flour. And the man of God said, bring that one. That is enough. Jesus Christ also, the disciples came, the people are hungry. He said, what do you have? And they said, we don't have anything. And he said, even if we have anything, how can we feed such a large crowd? Oh, there's a little boy here with 5 loaves and 2. Jesus Christ said, that is enough. Your smile is enough. Your age is enough. That time, at that age, I was in my 20s then. I had youth on my side. That was an asset for me. And so I could do anything, work any length of hours. I can't do the same thing now. But because I had that picture, I had to use my youth as an asset. Okay? The second thing that you need to do when you have those dreams, have them written down, have pictures. You must be humble. You must be hungry. And then you must be ready to roll up your sleeves. You must be humble. When I say humble, I don't mean you must be pious and slow and what I mean is that no matter what you have attained academically, be ready to do anything. Be humble, be ready to roll up your sleeves. See, opportunity usually comes to us, every one of us, dressed up as work. And lazy people, when they see opportunity dressed up, no. This is not what I prayed for. God does not give you the end. God does not give us apple juice. He gives us apple trees, apple seeds first, and then we plant, it becomes an apple tree, and then we get the apples and make apple juice. But unfortunately, so many believers, they pray for 10 hours and they just wait and say, I'm waiting on the Lord to do it. It doesn't work that way, my brothers and sisters. It doesn't work that way. Be humble, no matter what it is. I served in Mina maybe like 25, 26 years ago. Like you introduced me, I'm a pharmacist. But I had a goal. I had an economic goal, a financial goal that I was pursuing. When I finished my youth service, my dad asked me a question. He said, oh, now you finished internship, you finished youth service. What do you want to do next? I said, Daddy, I don't know what I want to do next exactly. But I'm 100% sure what I don't want to do. And he said, what is that? I said, I don't want to have a job. I don't want to work for anybody. And he said, really? I said, yes. Again, my dad was a businessman. I went everywhere with him. I mean, I learned by watching him. I mean, as a primary school pupil, I traveled with him to Onitsha, to Lagos. My dad, most people think I'm Igbo when they hear I see some of the things I do. but he was just following my dad around, He took me when I started driving. I started driving quite early at 16, 15, 16. I'd already started driving. And I used to drive him to Lagos, I used to drive him to Onitsha. He didn't allow me to do anything because as far as he was concerned, I didn't know anything. But I was watching. I was learning,
Mm.
you see. And so when I became a graduate, I became a pharmacist, a professional, there was nothing I didn't do. People that knew me back in school, someone joked one time that the only thing I didn't sell in Uniben was human beings. And that came from my upbringing. My father is a very frugal human being. My father he taught us discipline by the things that he did. And so if he gives you pocket money for the month, if the month was 30 days and you came back home on the 29th, if you like, you travel from Mars to the house. Once you get into his office, welcome, high school, how you doing? Hope no problem. So daddy, my allowance is finished. He will look at the calendar. What's with this date? Today is 29th, sir. Okay, go and come back on the 30th. And the first time he did it to me, I thought he was joking. I sat down there looking at him, man. Did you hear what I said? You can go back to school. And I didn't have transport money to even go back to school. In fact, I remember the first time I went to one of the staff and I pleaded everything to give me money to go back to school. And I was so upset and angry. I was thinking of all the bad things I can do to make this man angry. But you know what that taught me? Young man, you need to learn how to multiply money. And so once he gives me my money, once I pick up my allowance for the month, I go straight to the market, use everything. I was in school, I was a student. And so I asked myself, what would I like to spend money that is outside food for? Those days, I remember one of the first things I bought, a particular pen came out that time with cartoon characters and things like that. So I went and used my own allowance to buy everything. Got to class the next day, hey, I have this very beautiful pen to sell. And I sold it and I doubled my money. And this is how this thing works. And from then, I didn't look back. And so be humble. And so when I got to Mina, there was a day I went to the market to buy Gary. Yeah, I was independent. I cooked for myself and all that. As I was haggling with the woman about how much is a guy, I turned behind me and I saw a young man with a table, a machine, and he was making palm sandals. And I caught my interest. And, they were quite nice. I didn't believe I could see such a thing in Mina. So I asked him how much it was. And he told me, I think he said 600 naira. So I bought 2 pairs. One for myself, and I bought one for my pastor then, call of blessed memory. So I took it to him in church the next day, and he was like, wow, this is so nice. Where did you get it from? That gave me an idea. I said, if he sees it as so nice, that means a lot of people will see. So I went back to the guy the next day. I said, if I want to buy a dozen, how much will you sell for me? And he said, you will do it at 450. I said, okay, give me a dozen. I took the dozen, man. Some people may not like to hear this, but when people talk about excess profit, I asked them, do you prefer excess poverty? I took those shoes, made them at 450, and I was selling them at 1,200. In less than 2 days, I sold off the 12 pairs. Went back to him, I told him, make me 2 dozens. At the end, between 1 month, I was making Ghana must go bags of that palm sandals, and I was exporting them to Abuja, exporting them to Port Harcourt. In fact, in Port Harcourt and Abuja, I was selling them for 2,000 naira. Remember, I was making them for 450. I was serving, and so my allowance then was 800 naira. I started a pharmacy, my youth service. In fact, from camp, I already started a pharmacy. The clinic in the camp didn't have drug. I approached the commander. So can I sell my drugs in the camp? He said, if you have money, go ahead. And so I started making money right from camp. And so while people were crying, oh, there's no alawi, they were looking at me and they thought my father was a billionaire. But I was just doubling my money. I was doubling my money. I was doubling my money. I was not arrogant to say I can't. In fact, the truth of the matter is that friends saw me, even the person I was going to marry at that time, who I'm married to now, looked at me one day while I was counting my slippers in the house and said, how can a whole pharmacist be selling slippers? I said, be there. And my friends looked at me, some of them looked at me funny. But you know what? At the end of my youth service, I think I stayed back in Mina the next year. I bought my first car. Immediately I bought my first car. Can't you know, Yomi? believe it or not, everyone that knew me in Mina, all my friends, those ones that were working in big companies, my colleagues, coppers, everybody, they found out where I was making the slippers from. Everybody started making palm sandals to sell. I went to that place one day. In fact, tears came to my eyes. You know, like I said, I went to buy Gary. When I got to the place one day, you know, after everybody started selling, of course, I moved on to other things. I left it for them. By then, the market had spoiled because everybody wants to sell. Because there are so many people selling now, I couldn't sell at 2,000 or 1,000. They will sell buy at maybe 600. I'm sure the guy was even selling higher to them. And they want to put 200 naira to just. But what I saw amazed me. And that's why I believe one person can make a difference. I went to that place. The whole line in the market, the whole line, not just one it was just one boy. The boy I had sold bought so many slippers from him that he had become an oga. So he no longer was sewing. He now employed boys. He was training people. This happened in the space of 1 year, 2 years. All the shops on that line were now palm sandals makers. I don't know how they did it, whether they bought out all the women selling Gary, but the shops on that line in the market, everybody on that line was now making palms because everybody was coming to buy palm sandals to go and sell. You know, so one person can make a difference, and then you must be humble. Put that your university degree, put it to one side. You have the university degree, you have the professorship, and then you are hungry, and then you are complaining. Put it aside. Be humble. Remain hungry. Don't say that. Oh, I'm a graduate now. I don't need anybody. You be hungry. Once you are always hungry, your body would move to look for something to eat. Roll up your sleeve. Be ready for work. All right. Depending on where you are on the earning scale, you must be ready to do almost anything to build your capacity to earn more. Almost anything. Take note of that. Almost anything, not anything illegal. Okay? People used to call me Jack of all trades.
Wow.
I'm
Pastor Chris,
proud
if you can hear me, let me put a
to be
pause on you now. If you can hear me,
a
you have said so
Jack
so much that I want to take a
of all
pause. I'm not sure you are
trades.
able to
I'm
hear
not
me.
a
Okay, I think his network went a bit shaky and it's going to come back in a minute. But he said so much that I'm actually asking myself, wow. So much information in such a very short time. And thank God I said we're not rushing it off. We're not trying to run it off in one day. We're going to have this continue again next week. But he said so much. And thank you to everyone that has been putting things up, putting nuggets up. And, one of the things I said, and Pastor Chris, one of the things you said that caught my attention is the fact that it depends on you. It totally depends on you. It does not depend on anybody else but you. It's a function of what you do with yourself. It starts 100% with you. And that is very key. Thank you so much, Pastor Chris. Yes, you are back on now. Can we take you on for another 5 minutes? I'm not sure he's able to hear me at this time. Networks are beautiful, networks are pretty. Infrastructure, the Lord is helping us. People that see opportunities in infrastructure are moving in there and are taking charge. And every day, yes. So every day it's getting better. But one thing he started off with is talking about everything he has said today. I don't know if you've heard it. It's all about you. He hasn't talked about anybody yet. It's just all about you, what you know, what you have right within you. And it's important. Don't underrate yourself. Don't think you don't have it. Somebody says the only problem I have is the fact that I don't have money. That's not the problem. The problem you have is that you cannot see what is in your hands. What is in your hand? What can you learn? And see, how one person made a difference in an industry. I know when you are the first discoverer of something, you have the opportunity to maximize profit, which is what he did. The moment it opens up, a monopoly is broken. You've opened up that space, just move to another thing. But you can only move to another thing if you are constantly developing yourself. It's all about you. So the dragnet, to improve or increase your earning capacity, it starts with you. And like I stated at the beginning, God wishes above all things that you prosper. It starts with you. It starts with what you have in your hands, what you have in your head. What do you even believe about yourself? Do you think you can? If you think you can, or you think you can't, you are right. And that's the truth. Welcome back, Pastor Chris. I will take
Thank
your
you, ma'am.
final words for this morning, and then next week we'll take it from here. But like I said, all that you have spoken of so far has been about you. What you, your mindset, your philosophy. I think there's this crack noise from your end. Your
Yeah.
network starts smiling at that point. So let me take your final words for this morning as we take it on from next week.
You said what?
So let me take your final words for this morning as we put a
Okay.
pause
All
to
right.
continue next week.
Okay. I think the last thing I was talking about is that be a jack of all trade and a master of one. Have a big dream of what you want to do. If you want to go into oil and gas, you want to become the best doctor, the best whatever, you will need money to achieve that dream. But on your way to that place, be a jack of all trades. Learn as much as you can learn. The third thing that I will say, which is the final thing, obviously because of time, have an eye open for opportunities and problems. There is an opportunity in most problems. Before you hear anything now, in fact, the data you sent to me, when people write about it, the first thing they say is the cause of the increase in the misery index is the COVID pandemic, the shutdown. But the truth of the matter, man, I know people that made their first millions during the COVID. All right.
True.
And so, in the midst of every problem, there is an opportunity. All right. What you see as problems, other people see it as opportunities. Okay. And so, if you want to increase your earning capacity, open your eyes to, to problems. And within that problems, what are the opportunities? The truth of the matter is that for every one of us, there are things that we have gone through, we learned from, that others can benefit from. And when we sell that experience to them, how do you get consultants? All right. If you've been, for example, a pharmacist for 25 years, you've done certain certifications, you've practiced, you become a consultant. That's how you become, and your earning capacity increases from your experience. But so many of us, we don't learn from, when bad things happen, when we face obstacles, we just move into our comfort zone. All right. But if you keep doing that, you will never learn, you will never increase your earning capacity. All right. The word problem, as most of us or some of us may know, comes from a Latin word, probe, forward. And so in every problem, there must be an increase. You must be thrown forward. It must move you forward. So look for the opportunities in, for example, now, there's a new saying by young people, I want to japa. There are some people that probably have been traveling for the past 10, 15 years. All right? Example, I've never been denied a visa. I have learned the, and so if there's no money anywhere, if there's no opportunities anywhere, that is an opportunity. All I need to do is begin to broadcast on my social media handles. You want to travel, you've been denied visa 3, 4, 5 times. I give you 100% guarantee. I will put you through the process. And if you get your visa, you make the payment. If you don't get your visa, make your payment and I'll return your money to you, 100% back guarantee if you don't get your visa. That's an opportunity. All right. A lot of young people are writing IELTS now. All right. You go to halls
Right.
across the city some weekends filled with young people writing IELTS. You've written IELTS once, you passed it with a high mark. Why don't you start a lesson online to teach others? That is an opportunity. And they are all over the place. Like I said, I know a young man that made 90 million from one transaction selling face masks during the lockdown. Okay, he had never, in fact, I don't know he made 90 million. I know he bought a house for 90 million. All right. When I saw that, I told myself, wow, what a huge opportunity. Anthony Yomi, do you know that before the lockdown, before COVID struck, a pack of masks was less than 500 naira,
Yeah.
700 naira. Within
Yeah.
6 months, if I had only 1 million naira worth of mask in my warehouse and I sold it during the lockdown, I will make half a billion naira without doing anything. Because the prices of masks went from about 500 naira, 700 naira to some people had container full of those face masks in their warehouse. Even if they sold that, other people were crying, problem, problem. You know, I love the saying, I read it in a book a long time ago. We see things the way we are, not the way
Mm.
things actually are. And so someone goes into a village, the shoe salesman sees that nobody wears shoes, and he begins to lament and curse himself that, which kind of bad luck is following me? So how can I come to this city and nobody's wearing shoes? And then he goes back to headquarters saying that he didn't find anybody that wore shoes. Another person with a different mindset sees the same set of people. Nobody's wearing shoes. He calls headquarters and says, please produce for another 2 years because I have hit the jackpot. But somebody else saw
Mm.
it and said, my bad luck. My village people has followed me. All right. And so every problem you're going through, the same problem you have in this economy, every other person have it. Every other
Mm.
person has it. Every other person has problem with money. Every other person has problem with you. Wake up in the morning. What's the first thing on your mind? You want to take your bath. You want to
Wow.
brush your teeth. Every other person has the same issues. Every other person has the same need. Why don't you put yourself in the position to meet those needs? And so, look around you. Think as Chinese, as there's in this country. From the data, our every inflation. One thing that just keeps
What is saying is so true. Whatever you see, you can solve. It's actually about you. You see things the way you are, not the way things are. What glasses are you wearing? What spectacles are you wearing? The ball is actually in your court. It's not about the economy. It's not about the global challenges. It's about you. If you think you can or you think you can't, trust me, you are right. So Pastor Chris has said so much today. There's so much to truth. Trust me, you didn't hear it all. I want to encourage everybody, go back to this broadcast, watch it again and again and again, and get this knowledge. I've been taking notes and I'm still taking notes. It all starts with you, your mindset. What do you think? What are you thinking? If you think you can or you think you can't, like Henry Ford said, you are right. He said something, I will close with this. He said, be a jack of all trades, but master one. Know something about everything, but not everything about something. There's a gold mine in your hands. There's a gold mine in your home. There's a gold mine all around you. Mine the gold. You have prayed enough. Yes, as you keep praying, it's time to work and pray. Let's increase our earning capacity. Let's drag more money into our net. Let's not just be blessed, but blessed to be a blessing. Remember 3 John 2. God wishes above all things that you, yes, you, that you prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. And that's it for this beautiful Monday morning. Pastor Chris will be back with me live next week, Monday, as we continue in our discussion on Dragnet, increasing your earning capacity. And until I come your way next week, Monday, never ever forget it. Together we win. God bless you. Have a beautiful week. Love you big. Bye for now.